Well, good morning, dear friends. Myself, Dr. Sandeep Tripathi. Today, I'll be here to discuss about the recent developments that took place in Russian politics. Dear friends, as we know that Putin is facing a very serious challenge from his close confidant, Wagner chief Prigozhin. As we know that Prigozhin in the Russian politics before, I think, before 10 years before, he was a very low profile figure. And simply he was a businessman. And even he was, alleged for many crimes, and he was present in the Russian jail also. So, but later on, under the blessings of Putin, he got good postures as well as emerged as a tycoons in Russian politics. But the point is here that is most important to understand why did this mutiny happen, and a person who was very close to Putin, a person who was very reliable to Putin, how did this suddenly it become a turnout as a rebellion? So that is the question. And the second point is that what is the future of Prigozhin? Just because of he openly challenged Putin's authority. The third point is, which is most important to understand, that the kind of deal that took place between just because of the Alexander Lukashenko effort. So now currently he is exiled and he's in Belarus. So what is the future of and so we think that this kind of this kind of deal is long lasting, or it may again pose a challenge to the Putin's authority. Dear friends, first of all, I would like to say that let me talk about something about Putin. As the author of Putin's leadership, I strongly believe, and during my research last 1 decade, I found that Putin has enjoyed unparalleled popularity in Russian political history since 2000. He took forward this country. He stabilized the Russian country, and he took forward Russia as a superpower status. So, and after 2007, the kind of assertion he has shown in his foreign policy, as well as domestic and external, each and everywhere, Russia stand as a superpower status. So, there is no debate, and that the kind of popularity Putin has enjoyed over the 3 decades in the Russian history, in the Russian politics. So, in that regard, this is the question that this is the first ever challenge, and the challenge is the Kremlin insider. That is the point. The challenge, someone who was very close to Putin, very close confidant of Putin, and a person who flourished, a person who progressed a lot in his life, in career, just because of the Putin's blessings. So, and suddenly, how did he turn out to be as a rebellion? That is the question. So, let me take you back in the short history, especially after the invasion of Ukraine, Russian invasion of Ukraine. In February 2022, Russia started war against Ukraine, and after some time, Putin felt that Putin's professional army, Russian army, they were fighting, but Putin thought that that this mercenaries Wagner group, it should be sent to the battlefield, and a very short of time. And this Wagner's forces, mercenary Wagner forces, they fought with the full-fledged patriotic, and the Battle of Bakhmut. They won this Battle of Bakhmut, and Without any hesitation, I can say that the under the Prigozhin leadership, uh, this army, this Wagner's forces fought with full spirit. Sure, that was but the point is that, and the questions emerge, which is the Wagner's force, Wagner's army. Of course, this is a private army, and Prigozhin is the chief of this army, and the recruitment of this Wagner's group is very interesting. That they are not professionals; they are the person who are prison, the crime background, the criminal background that they are coming. So they are recruited to fight against Ukraine. So, in some sense, this Wagner group has a legitimacy just because in a very crucial time, in a critical time, they fought against Ukraine on behalf of the Russian territory. So there has some sense of sympathy. The Russian common people has some sympathy. They are sympathetic to the Wagner because they sacrifice their life. So that is the one point. Now the question is where the problem emerges. The problem emerges. There is a tussle, there is a tension between Wagner's chief Prigozhin and the defense minister Sergei Shoigu, as well as the chief of the army staff Valery Gerasimov. We have seen lots of tensions, lots of fault lines between the two sides. One from one Wagner's chief Prigozhin, and he was making allegations. He accused publicly for not supporting, defense minister, not supporting the Russian army. Even lastly, he was making allegations that some of our Wagner's group of army was killed by the Russian army. So this was a dissatisfaction, the discontent that leads Prigozhin to speak out openly and frankly against the Putin's establishment. So, my dear friend, was a simple result. Because the kind of tension, the kind of tension was going. It was nothing new. Last for 5 months, there was lots of exchange of words from both sides, and especially he was very critical on the Russian defense minister General Shoigu, Sergei Shoigu, and the chief of the army staff Valery Gerasimov. But the most important question is allegations and attack on Putin. That is the point from the Prigozhin. Prigozhin started attacking Putin. That the motives, that is important. And let me tell you one thing, that just because of 16 months have gone, there is no clear scene. There is no clear directions, the trajectory of the Russian war, and that is why people are very upset in the Russian economy shattered properly, and people are unknown which direction is going, and Russian leadership under the trouble. So in that crisis, there was no open voice in the Russian territory, because Russia is an authoritarian state, and during authoritarian state, there's no dissent. Dissent is not allowed to say something about the Putin criticism. And Putin was surrounded by his close eye, and I don't know, because Putin is known for his wisdom. Putin is known for his charisma. Putin is known for his conviction. Putin is known for as a stabilizer. So for the first time, he was facing such kind of crisis, such kind of challenge from his close confidant. That is the point. And Prigozhin directly attacked Putin and started making allegations that and that he realized some sense of that why Putin is not spell out why Putin is not taking any action against the Shoigu, and indirectly he was supporting Shoigu. So Defense Minister Shoigu. So there is a resentment, there is a dissatisfaction uh, uh, in Prigozhin. So these were the issues. And the second time, this is not the first time. I just explained that in the Russian-Ukraine war, this Wagner army fought with full spirit, and Bakhmut, the battle of Bakhmut, won by this army. So, but let me remind the role of this Wagner group also. In 2018, in Syria war, they were there and they fought on behalf of the Russian territory and to support Bashar al-Assad. And so many Wagner civil army was sorted there, but Russian response was muted during that time. So, and even Russia, because they are not official Russian army, so Russia didn't take any responsibility. So this is somehow the proxy cannot run the long time, that one side you are taking help, one side they are making sacrifice their life for the Russian identity, for the Russian nation, and other side you are not supporting, and you killed the Wagner civil. So that was the resentment, that was the dissatisfaction, the discontent that allows Prigozhin to speak out against Putin. So this is the one scenario. And the second scenario, that what is the next? So we know that he started in the city of Rostov, he controlled, and even he openly appealed for the Russian people that this is not a mutiny, because in his televised address, Putin addressed that this is somehow a traitor. This is somehow stabbed back in the country, and we cannot tolerate. And Putin identified as a traitor. So on the other side, in a response to Prigozhin, in his audio message, he appealed to the Russian people that he fought for the Russian land, and this is not a military coup. This is not military coup. This is not against the Russian establishment, Putin's establishment. This is something much to justice. And my dear friend, this kind of resentment was in the Russian society, but they don't have a courage, they don't have a conviction to speak out against Putin. They are in dilemma, they are in trouble. What was the future of the Russia? Because there is no concrete result. Okay, there is, after the 16-month continuous war, lots of sanctions, and the economy was set up. So there is a resentment in the Russian society, and the kind of resentment has been captured by the Prigozhin. And that is why in Rostov, the local people of the Rostov, they stood with the Prigozhin. And the people's spirit, the people's sentiment is with the Wagner shine, with the Prigozhin. That was the legitimacy crisis. That was the challenge. Some scholars argue that Prigozhin might be a game plan for the best. But my dear friend, as I believe, as my research and my study, as per my study and research, I can predict that Prigozhin voice is not a Western voice. Prigozhin resentment is not calculated and sponsored by the West. It is resentment against the Putin's criticism and the Putin's dilemma, because he has fought for the Putin. So and he was a loyalist, and Putin has shown his lots of confidence and lots of and Putin also supported him a lot. Uh, so we cannot say this is not the equation, this is not the question. If someone understands that this is the Western project, I don't think so. There is an immaturity of understanding the entire issue. Just because Prigozhin is not a Navalny, the Russian peoples do not take seriously Navalny. People know that Navalny is outsiders' voice, but the Prigozhin voice is the insiders, the Kremlin's insider. Putin was Kremlin's insider. It is the Kremlin's voice, and that is the question is legitimacy, and that is the question is the beginning of the end. But I won't say this is the end, because I do believe that Putin will manage. Putin knows it very well. The kind of support, the kind of popularity, the kind of sentiment attached to the Prigozhin. So Putin cannot overlook. And that is why after 24 hours, the entire episode, the entire trouble, Putin has tried to resolve through his counterpart, his friend, Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus. And we have seen that on Saturday around 10 o'clock, Putin addressed to the nation and challenged Prigozhin that the last option is we won't tolerate you, and the charges were imposed on Prigozhin. But after this deal, a safe passage was given to go in the Belarus, and now Prigozhin is on the exiled. But lots of questions remains important, remains unanswered. For example, what is the future of Wagner? What is the future of Prigozhin? And the kind of politics, the kind of equation we have seen the last 6 hours. For example, there is a discussion that Putin is going to change his defense minister, Sergei Shoigu. So this kind of the turn that Putin took, I think there is a consensus to pacify the resentment that was in Wagner's group, especially led by the Prigozhin. So Wagner's group and the leadership of Prigozhin is an emotional sentiment. Russian people see Prigozhin as a nationalist. We should not underestimate, we should not overlook this fact. And as I explained, that is the major challenge. And that is why Putin is trying to manage the entire, because the war is continuously with the Ukraine. And Putin knew this fact that this civil war may give some space, a full-fledged space for Zelensky to control eastern Ukraine. So I hope that Putin will manage it, and I do not believe that Prigozhin is an outsider. Prigozhin's voice is the Western voice. This is a premature calculation, and Putin understands this, and that is why Lukashenko comes in front, and he tried to diffuse the passion and the tension that erupted last 48 hours. So, my dear friend, it is very difficult to make any prediction for the future. But I do predict that I do believe and I do hope that Putin will manage this damage, and and through the diplomacy and through his vision, because Putin understands properly, and just because he was also very close to Putin. So this chemistry will kind of matter. And if Putin will, remove Putin expel to defense minister, and the new defense minister come, it might, appease to Prigozhin, and Prigozhin should not taken as a as a as a traitor, and because and this might be a wrong calculation to Putin. And the kind of equation emerged today, it has shown that Putin is well calculated, and I hope that situations will be normal, and the way Putin is trying to take forward this country, because in the very initial remarks, I explained that Putin was the leader who took forward this country in this today's position. Putin seeks to restore the glory of the Soviet Union status, and that is the why Russians unflinching support, extend their unflinching support to Putin, because Putin stabilized the nation of 10 years Yeltsin period. Putin has seen the chaotic region. Putin has managed the Chechen's problem. So Putin has managed lots of problems inside the Russia. He took forward the country in economic position, and the way Putin is taking forward country, I hope that this internal crisis, internal challenges will be overcome soon, and let us see what will happen in the future. But this is, of course, a serious trouble, a serious challenge to Putin. So Putin should rethink it and redesign his own policy towards Ukraine, and take confidence with the close eye to those who made sacrifice their life. So this is the entire analysis about the recent developments that has taken place in Russian politics, and entire the world is watching. Western media and some section of scholars view it in another form, that now Putin is going to collapse, Russia is going to collapse, but nothing is going to be collapse. Putin will manage it, and Prigozhin will return, and I hope Prigozhin again will protect the Russian territory, the Russian sovereignty. Thank you so much.